Yep. So last time we were together, we really kind of identified what we consider to be 7 criteria to help us kind of cut through the VUCA. And when we look at leaders, these things have always been important to the selection of frontline leadership. And we pulled these out, kind of extracted them, and made them even increasingly important when you look at how the reentry is going to happen and how people are going to get back to work and be productive and work as a unit, kind of working together. So a leader will need to demonstrate these qualities and put extra kind of effort into examining these qualities and differentiating between candidates once we start having people come back to the workforce. That first one is command skills, and I'll talk about that for just a second. It's really that ability to kind of garner attention, to have presence, to be able to say things with clarity and certainty and kind of force to a degree so that people feel like they want to follow and you can build that followership.
And closely behind that one is this idea of adaptability. So how can really important skill that one of these frontline supervisors are going to need is that comfort with ambiguity, that ability to change, that ability to deal with uncertainty and pivot where they need to be, not getting stuck and not being able to see past an obstacle that they might have in front of them.
Systemic thinking, this is very simple to describe. It's being able to see downstream effects, being able to see linkages, understand the resources and support that you have around you and even outside of your unit to help tackle issues and get things accomplished.
And then prioritization is closely followed behind that one. It's that ability to have the foresight to say what needs to be done, what is mission critical, how can I shut out the noise and do what needs to get done? Because there's so many different things coming in at us. There's so many different emails, so many different requests. What can we do to make sure that we prioritize what needs to get done by the end of a day, by the end of a quarter, whatever it needs to be to make sure that we get the mission critical jobs accomplished?
Empathy steps up to be very important. You've read a lot about this probably over the past several months. I go a little bit beyond that in the definition of empathy. It's not just to the individuals as they come in, but also to what's important to the whole team. And then what's the presentation of organizational empathy? How does the organization set up its policies and practices to show that we get it, we understand that your life has been disrupted, and we're doing something to make it easier for you to be productive. Disseminating information, it doesn't really need a huge amount of discussion about it, but that whole aspect of over communicating, bringing clarity, transparency. I also thought, that whole model of RACI, that the right people know what they need to know, and people also know, well, what am I supposed to do with this information? Do I have to make a decision on it, or is it just for information's sake to make me feel calmer and better about what's going on?
And this next one, creating focus, is kind of difficult to get your head around. For us, it's about being bulletproof to much of that interpersonal conflict that goes on around us when we're trying to get our jobs done. Those little niggly emails that come from people who are getting held up on something and want this from you and want that from you, and being able to see through that, focus on the results that need to get accomplished, and kind of being bulletproof to a lot of that noise that goes on from an interpersonal perspective, from the people perspective, and moving through that and creating focus and still being able to get what needs to get done. That's what we really need in these frontline supervisors, because it's so easy to get derailed at the moment. There's so many different things coming in. So our thinking here was a frontline supervisor is going to need these characteristics at any time, but they really are important in this particular time, and having them as a set of criteria can be a useful way for us to think about how we go forward in terms of selecting people.